Clark, Liam Finn, Remy Marginet, Liam McAvoy, Evan Simons, and David Wheatman as confirmed members of the squad's 29 of the club's 2019 squad. They're making a push for things next year when they'll be hoping that there's probably no Bradford, no York potentially, who are streets ahead at them at the moment. The clubs that will be coming down are likely to be going to be clubs with serious financial restrictions. Newcastle are making 2019 their year for pushing for promotion, aren't they?
They are. I mean, he just did mention there, but Liam Finn's going as well, isn't he? Yeah, so he's got to be a bit of experience to it. I don't know, no, he just mentioned Liam Finn. Sorry, Jack Aldu is an ex-Hull FC player who was again one of these guys tipped for quite big things a few years ago. Never broke into the first team. Saw him a couple of times, and he looked like he had potential. So I think if they can build a core, then there's no reason why they can't go. And kind of going back to our previous conversation, start building on the Magic weekend and start getting those fans to kind of come and have a look, trying to create the match day atmosphere there.
Well, if you have some recognisable names, or even some exotic sounding names at the same time, it all helps with that sort of thing. And Liam Finn's a recognisable name. Remy Marginet is a recognisable name now. I feel like he's been on news stories on SLP like 3 times every season for some sort of transfer somewhere. So at least we've heard of him, if not what he delivers. Okay, and finally, Australian Rugby League legend Billy Slater will finish his unbelievable career, and that's in quote marks, I think it's a quote from him, career at the end of the season. Slater retires as a 2-time winner of the World Cup and NRL Premiership and 8-time State of Origin champion. The fullback, who spent his entire 16-year career at the Melbourne Storm, retired from international rugby in May, having made 30 appearances for his company. Slater was part of the Storm side that won the NRL Grand Final in 2007, 2009, 2012 and 2017, but the club was stripped of the first 2 of those for breaching the competition's strict salary cap rules. Rather than strict, I would say standard, and rather than breaching, I would say outright cheating by signing people like Billy Slater to 2 contracts at the same time. He collected 2 Clive Churchill medals given to the man of the match in the NRL Grand Final, and the Dally M medal, the NRL Player of the Year award. An emotional Slater thanked his teammates, fans, coaches, sponsors and family, and told the reporters the decision to retire was not an easy one. I feel so lucky to have had the career I have had, said the 35-year-old, who scored 187 tries in 313 NRL matches. 18 years ago, I made the decision to pack my car up and chase my dream. I've always felt extremely grateful and loyal to this club. Yeah, he's had a fantastic career, hasn't he? He's going to be one of those players that when we're in our 60s and 70s, we'll remember having seen Billy Slater play in the flesh. He's one of those.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of kind of salary cap flexibility kind of notwithstanding, kind of those Melbourne sides really put in some quality games, and it always seemed to kind of start from the back as well. When Slater got the ball, it really was a what's he going to do? Something's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Again, not to kind of put a downer on it. I do think in the last few years he kind of did start to have a bit of an error in him, and he did start to look like he was perhaps on the slide slightly.
Even in the 2008 World Cup final, and arguably it was at the peak of his powers. He had errors in him in that game that cost Australia, but. You're right. I mean, fitness has been a big part of his decline, hasn't it, in the last 2 to 3 years? But when he's been available and when he's been fit, he's been able to raise still for those key matches. He was fantastic in a losing Queensland State of Origin effort this year. He's a player who. There's a lot of players who you look at and you think, oh, they're great in open space and they're so talented when there's space for them to move. He was a player who found open space. It felt like it didn't need to be there. He would get past a player and it'd become open space. He'd take a kick and all of a sudden it'd weave through the line and it would be open space. And it seemed like he could create that for himself, which. the very, very best players are the ones who can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the kind of rankings are and how they kind of put players in their kind of Hall of Fame and kind of or what, but he's definitely one who you think is going to be like a first ballot vote kind of straight in kind of thing. He was. There's probably there's so many superlatives you can use to describe him. He was a great player. And again, similar to as we mentioned with Wilkin, I think it's good that he's choosing the time to go out. He's not waiting till there's another young lad coming through pushing him and he's kind of finding himself getting dropped. He's actually saying, "Yeah, thanks guys. I'll pop on." No doubt we'll see him on the pitch at it's kind of interviewing players next season.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, I mean, I think he's still probably got a few moments left in him this year, and I think that the finals will be starting in a couple of weeks in the NRL, and Melbourne are well placed for those as they tend to be most seasons, especially most seasons that Billy Slater's been on the field more games than he's not been on the field. So that'll be exciting to see. Okay, that is news from around the world of rugby league well and truly covered. We're now going to move on to the meat of the show, that is the Super 8's match reviews. Super 8's match reviews now sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. You can find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards and more at the Aladdin's Cave that is Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. Visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5 you can earn 5% cash back, and also 1% of your order value will come to SLP just by putting SLP discount at checkout. And if you want to give your full 5% to the SLP coffers too, you can do that by messaging Rob's Toy Shop when you make your order. I think even though school holiday season is probably only just really get underway, if you're getting into back to school mood out there, people, then I think Rob's Toy Shop might have you covered with some nice pencils and pencil cases and that sort of thing. So go and have a look. Right, it was the Super League Super 8 round 1. There was an average attendance of 9,401, which kind of masks the fact that everyone's attendances were about 1,500 to 2,000 down on their averages for the rest of the season as everyone is on holiday. But still, headline figure, quite a positive one. We start with Hull FC versus Wakefield. It finished 31-13 to the visitors Wakefield Trinity after a really weird looking 7-all half-time scoreline in front of 10,301. Jack Smith was the referee. Langers, I'm going to read out Joshua's granddad's fan review on this one, and then I can let you rip in on Hull FC. So Joshua's granddad John says, "Thank fuck we are not in the middle eights. No guile, no go forward, but still held an ordinary Trin team for 70 minutes. They ran away to be flattered by the score once the fat boys finally wore us down. Desperately need some new forwards next year, otherwise Taylor's going to kill himself trying to do it all." Fair enough. What did you make of this one then Langers?
Sadly, it's kind of pretty much a carbon kind of game out of so many that we've seen this year. You kind of take Connor or Kelly out of our side, and we really don't look like we have an idea when we get into the 20. It's kind of 5 drives and a chip to the corner kind of scenario is all we ever seem to come up with. I take the point about they need some new forwards. I mean, all we seem to be signing at the moment is young forwards.
How did young Lewis Bianek get on his debut, the London lad?
He looks a unit. I'll give him that. Didn't set the world on fire, but looked pretty solid, and looks like with a bit of experience and kind of full-time training and nutrition and the like, he could be quite a steal for us. But again, it's a very small sample size to be judging him on. I think to be fair, Masi Motongo kind of looked like that when he burst onto the scene, and he's kind of disappointed, in my opinion, this year. So I think you look at our side, and you look at the players that we've got on the pitch, and the injury crisis has kind of really struck us down. But the quality of our side should be better than we are doing at the moment. It really should. It's
how much ball did Griffin and Tumavava get in this game? Because looking at your lineup, other than Shaw's pace, Griffin and Tumavava were the only players that I'm looking at there thinking they're going to unlock you. Sneyd and Abdul are talented rugby league players and have got various skills, but neither of them, I don't feel, are, like you say, Kelly or Connor. Neither of them are so sort of talented that you've got to legislate for what they can do, and sometimes that creates opportunities elsewhere if they're not creating them for themselves. And so, I mean, how much more did you get to those two talented centres? Because that's all I could see. That'd scare me in that whole side, to be honest.
Yeah, the only ball they really seemed to be getting was coming out of our half, and again, with kind of the best will in the world. Both of them can make a break, and both of them can kind of go. But neither, if they break from the 20, I don't think there's many sides that are going to be terrified that they're going length of the pitch. I don't know what the answer is. I think Radders is kind of relying on us having a fully fit squad for the start of next year.
I mean, Hull did take the lead kind of until, well, they were ahead midway through the second half, weren't they? And there was the Simbin period for Max Jowett, but what did Hull not take full advantage of that period, or how did it turn around?
I think. I mean, the try. Shawley's try was a good try. One kind of takes it, arcs round, bit of pace, and he's through. And that's what you know him for. But again, we just didn't. It's ball retention, just silly mistakes. I think it's just frustrated. I think the majority of the crowd probably spent a lot of time kind of just staring at the feet with heads in hands as watching the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the players. I mean, they get the ball and you kind of think, oh, this is it. But it kind of we kind of run down a dead alley, or it just kind of seems to fall over, and that's it. We're just not there at the moment.
Wakefield's, from from the little bits I've seen of this game, Wakefield scored some classy tries. Who impressed you for them?
I think Fafita was a handful, as ever. Johnson, I mean, the try that he scored, it was, I mean, kind of talking about kind of Slater finding space out of nowhere. How he managed to kind of stop, turn, cut, go, and all of a sudden he's through. I don't know. I mean, that's a video review that would have been pretty horrific reading.
Yeah.
Viewing. Across the board, Trinity are kind of solid rather than spectacular. Miller's coming on leaps and bounds. I think he was pulling the strings.
He's a much more commanding player than the kid who came over to you lot, isn't he? He looks like he's in full control of what he's good and what he's not good at in his game, and what his teammates are good and not good at. It just looks like he's running the show completely there, doesn't he? And I think he was captain actually for Trinity.
He was, yeah.
He's really impressed me this year.
Yeah, and I think we saw it in flashes when he came to us a few years ago. But as you say, he came as a young lad, massive expectation on his shoulders. Excuse me, coming over from Wests, kind of, he's got all the tools, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just showing you need a bit of time to mature. I think a lot of credit goes to Chris Chester. I think he's a very underrated coach. I think what he's done with that twin set, who kind of seemed to kind of pull the. They're always looking like this is going to be the year when it all falls apart, but they just seem to pull it together and get the results.
I know what you mean. And also this, it feels like this is a part of the season where it's just going to be going through the motions, and then they rock up to your place on the road and give you a bit of a hammering in